ओम सदाशिवसमारम्भां
शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्।
ओम सहनावतु
सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
We will be covering in this class the Adhyatma Patala, it is called, of the Apastamba Dharma Sutra. Patala means, you can say, a paricheda or a chapter. The Dharma Sutras are there, different Dharma Sutras are there. Apastamba, Bodhayana, Gautama, like that. Many different rishis have given the Dharma Sutras, which actually detail out what are all the rules you have to follow in your day-to-day life. And the rules are very detailed. In fact, if you read, you can see what is all permitted, how you have to do certain things, even like right from sipping water, eating, what are all the rules involved. Like this, in your day-to-day life, all the activities which you do, there are rules are there according to the Dharma Shastra. So these rules are briefly given in the sutra, and again some of these rules vary based on your Veda also, the Shakha which you follow. Typically the Apastamba Dharma Sutra is for the Yajurveda people. In fact, those who know their this Abhivadaya, in that this sutra also will come, correct? We actually say our sutra. In fact, for me, being a Samavedin, my sutra is Drahyayana Sutra. Okay. Like this, the different sutras are there. Bodhayana Sutra is different. In fact, depending on the sutra, the way you do certain rituals also vary. Even the way you do Tarpana, or even some Sandhya Vandana, what all you do in that, these things can vary. Now the Dharma Sutra is predominantly about what you can or what you have to do in your day-to-day life, the rules which are there, what is prohibited, all these things are given. So even in this Apastamba Dharma Sutra, there is a Prathamaha Prashnaha, Dvitiyaha Prashnaha, like that. You can take this like a first chapter, second chapter. Within that there are many patalas are there, or sections, and there is also Khandika, they say. Like this, it's all, basically it is divided in 3 levels, you can say. Prashnaha, Patala and Khandika, like that. Now, in the Prathama Prashnaha, the first chapter itself, the 8th Patala, okay, or the 8th section is called the Adhyatma Patala. Means the section which is dealing with the Atma Vidya, with reference to the Atma. Adhyatma means something which refers to oneself, with reference to the self. Now, before this, actually, Apastamba is listing out what are all the things you should not do. All the things which will make you a patita, in fact. Patita means one who has fallen in his duties, correct? Or you become a avarna, in fact. You lose your status of the varna and become a avarna if you do certain things. He is listing out all the, it's more like crime, it's listing out different types of crimes, and if you do these things, you will be considered as somebody who has fallen from his duties. And in fact, he gives separate rules how to deal with these people or not deal. People will not then deal with you also. Correct? On whatever, daily transactions and all that. So after saying what are all the things you should not do, then this 8th section or 8th Patala is about this Adhyatma, and then further he gives specific Prayaschitta. Because if you have done something wrong also, we always have some prayaschitta. Nobody is there who has not done something wrong, correct? Everybody, whether knowingly or unknowingly, we do something wrong. That's why many times even when we do some sankalpa, so in that it is there, or in fact we do certain things only once, you do a mistake only once. But even that is not true. We do the same mistake again and again also, correct? Sakrit kritam, asakrit kritam and all we act. Or we, something which I did knowingly or unknowingly. All these things I want I want to be freed. I do this prayaschitta, I take this snana, I do this dhanam, like that. There are many prayaschitta karma, specific karma also is specified. But before that, this Atma Jnanam is talked about in the Dharma Sutra itself. And why did I select this? Because Adi Shankara has written a commentary on this. Okay? It is not very popular. Not many people even know that Shankaracharya has written a commentary on this portion of the Dharma Sutra. Actually, for the entire Dharma Sutra, Haradatta has written a tika called Ujjvala. That's a brief commentary is there. One Haradatta has written a commentary called Ujjvala on the this Apastamba Dharma Sutra. Now this Dharma Sutra and all also, if you see, one has to study them as part of one's Veda Adhyanam. When one goes for Veda Adhyanam, nowadays in fact they just memorize the Veda. That's all they do. They memorize the Samhita. Even some people even don't do that completely. They only memorize those mantras which are useful in Vaidika Karma. They are called Prayoga mantras and all that, correct? Some people only study for 2-3 years. Memorize all the things which are useful in different yajnas, prayaschitta karma and all that. And they know how to do the prayoga, they know. And they come out, because then they can start earning. So they don't study the entire Veda. But studying Veda Adhyanam means 12 years it was said traditionally, correct? Even Kalyanji was saying that. Now 12 years what do you study? Means you have to anyway memorize everything, because ours is an oral tradition. Understand that. Today we have all the literature which we have only because ours is an oral tradition. They could not kill everybody. The invaders came, they burnt all the libraries. Still Brahmanas ran away because everything is there in the mind. They can again teach it to the next generation and preserve. That's how it was preserved. Otherwise many cultures lost. They burnt the library in Babylon or whatever, many in Mesopotamia and all that, correct? Some people think that everything is there in one book and everything else is not worth learning, or it is all like whatever satanic things like this. They have their thinking like that. So they can burn anything, they can destroy. But even after so much invasion and destruction and all that, so much is surviving today because we have this oral tradition where these things were transmitted and memorized first. That's why at a very young age the Gurukula Vasa is prescribed, correct? At the age of 7 or 8 only you go to the Gurukula. At a young age it is easy to memorize. You don't even have to understand the meaning. First memorize everything. So even while study, 6 months is for only learning the chanting and memorizing. But 6 months you have to learn other disciplines so that later on you can analyze and understand whatever is said in the Shastra, you have to understand also, correct? Then only you can follow properly. It's not just memorizing alone is not enough. So you have to do Mimamsa. You have to arrive at what the Shastra is actually revealing and how to actually follow whatever is given there. So to determine that also you have to do some vichara. That is called Dharma Jijnasa. That is the Purva Mimamsa, really, the analysis of the Shastra to arrive at what all one should do. There is an analysis involved in that. So one has to study the Veda, then one has to study the meaning of the Veda later. You first memorize and then learn the meaning. But to learn the meaning, you need to know so many other things. Right? Not only learn the meaning, but then follow whatever you are supposed to do with that knowledge, because the Purva Kanda, anything, see, if you have to achieve something which you have not achieved already, okay, so accomplishing the unaccomplished, or asiddhasya sadhyam, let us say. Asiddha means what? That which is not already accomplished. So I am in Teni.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
I want to go to Chennai. Means Chennai is not accomplished yet, correct? I am in Teni. I want to go to Chennai. Then I have to do some karma, correct? I have to go and either take a bus, or I can take a train, or I can go to Madurai and take a flight, or I can even walk or run and all that, correct? There are crazy people who can even cycle to Chennai, or somebody is running. Every day you run or walk. In those days they even went walking up to Kashi and all that, correct? So there are so many ways of accomplishing, but karma is the means, correct? So asiddhasya sadhyam means karma only is the means. And what karma you can do, what karma you cannot do is what this Dharma Shastra is about. Is that clear? Basically Dharma Shastra that way is only about karma. And in fact, when we talk about karma also, we say that karma can only produce 4 categories of results, 4 types of results. This Bhashyakara talks in the Brihadaranyaka Bhashya itself. Because the greatest Purva Pakshi, if you read all the commentaries of Shankara, the main opponent, the opposing view is the Purva Mimamsaka. Purva Mimamsaka is the one who says that Veda is only mandating action. Veda is only revealing karma. Amnayasya kriyarthatva anarthakyam adadarthana. They say anarthakyam adadarthana means what? That which is not revealing any karma, it is all meaningless, or it has to be considered as some kind of arthavada, they say. Arthavada means what? You have to take it as a subsidiary or a supplementary thing to whatever karma which is already revealed and all that. That is their view. And so according to them, you can never stop doing karma. Nitya karma, naimitika karma, one has to do till you are alive. Okay. In fact, they even say, what is the qualification to do nitya karma? I mean, you being alive is good enough. If you are alive, you have to do you have to do your karma. That was the understanding. Okay. But Shankara is talking about sannyasa, because the same Veda also talks about sannyasa. But they say that even a sannyasa ashrami has to do karma. The Purva Mimamsakas say that nitya karma cannot be even given up by sannyasi, can give up kamya karma. Means, see, in Veda itself, so many things are given. And whatever the Veda says is not available anywhere else. That's why it's a pramana. That's a separate discussion. We'll continue that. But Veda is like a supermarket, correct? It is giving you so many sadhanas and sadhyas. Sadhya means what? That which should be accomplished. And if you want to accomplish something, you require the means for that, correct? How do I accomplish that means? That also Veda is giving. Now, in some cases, whatever the Veda is giving, the sadhya is known to us. Like putra, correct? You want a son, you don't have a son, but you are desirous of that. Then there is a kamya karma is given. You do putra kamyashti. In fact, even like 20 years back, people have done putra kamyashti, desiring for a male child, and they got also. Okay. Again, what is the connection between that result and whatever the Veda asked you to do? Correct? Veda is saying so many, it is giving you so many rules. In fact, whatever the Veda is revealing itself is already known, correct? We know there is fire, we know that there are wooden sticks and all that, correct? Different samit and all, we know already this tree. It says that go and get this tree, or use so many bricks to construct an altar and all that. Now, in that bricks we know, but then how to construct the altar is purely given only in the Vedas. And also Veda only tells that fire we know how to create, but you chant this mantra and pour ghee or some other offering. So all these things Veda alone reveals, nowhere else it is available. And again, what is the connection between this and getting a putra means that also no one knows, correct? Veda also doesn't give any connection. It says that if you do all this, you will get it. And even after getting it, somebody can say, no, it is all like coincidence. Kaka okara, panam kada like that. So crow sat on the tree, and at the same time one fruit also fell down. But we cannot say crow only made the fruit to fall down or anything. So you can still say that, but that's what it is. At least in all these things you do, and you know whether you get it or not. Okay, it is there. So sadhya is known, sadhana is unknown. That is one category. Then sadhya itself is unknown, like heaven, swarga. So Veda only reveals swarga, and again to go to swarga you cannot go with this body. That means Veda has to reveal that Deha Vyatirikta Atma is there. Because once this Deha is gone, whether anything survives, whether a Jiva is there or not, there is no consensus on that, correct? Scientists say only physical body is there. Charvaka also says that, even in our tradition, everything is only body, physical body alone is the reality. There is nothing more than that. So, Bhasmi Bhutasya Dehasya Punaragamanam Kutaha, he is asking. Once this body is burnt, is gone, what is there to come back or go anywhere? There is nothing. So, Yavat Jivet Sukham Jivet Rinam Kritva Ghritam Pibet. So, till the time you live happily. Take loan and drink ghee. Okay? You can take loan and drink ghee and be happy. Don't worry. Now this is one Charvaka is given by Brihaspati. Okay, one rishi called Brihaspati is the rishi. Not the Deva Guru Brihaspati, but another person Brihaspati. That's why we say this guy is a Brihaspati and all that. Correct? There is a saying like that. If somebody says something very atrocious or something like that, we call that person Brihaspati. It's there in Tamil Nadu at least. I don't know whether this usage is there in other places. But anyway, the idea here is that this karma, whether it gives you something which is known, but karma also can give you something which is totally unknown like Swarga. But even that Swarga itself is then revealed by the Veda, that you will survive this physical body's death also Veda only has to tell you. Not only that, Bhashyakara himself talks about this. He says, so Deha Vyatirikta Atma, means there is an Atma, there is an individual being who survives the death of the physical body. That Veda only is the pramana for that, because otherwise too many people have too many opinions and there is no way to prove or disprove any of that. So finally you have to fall back only on the Veda as a pramana to say that there is a Deha Vyatirikta Atma. Not only that, but if you have to go to Swarga, means Dehantara Sambandhi Atma also the Veda is revealing, correct? That means this Atma, once this Deha goes, there is no rule that it has to take another body. In fact, many theologies say there is only one chance, correct? We have only one life. Then you are resting in peace. They call it resting in peace. Okay. In fact, even our people nowadays, if somebody dies, they all put rip. I don't know what is this rip. There is no rip in our. Understand this. According to us, nobody is resting anywhere because you have to take another immediately. Or in fact, all our rituals and all, I did for my own father. Okay, so I know what is there. It's all simple Sanskrit. In fact, if you know Sanskrit, you will understand exactly what all we do. The whatever 13 days and all we do. Correct. Somebody passes away, then we do all the rituals. So those rituals are all very interesting because basically what we say is even once this physical body is dead, still the Sukshma Sharira is there, but it cannot be there by itself. So it is said that it takes a Preta Sharira. There is an interim body also it has to take, because even to travel you require one intermediate body. That body is called Preta Sharira. But the Preta Sharira has to be nourished. Then only it can travel well, okay, wherever it is supposed to go. So what we do is, that is what is called, they plant all this kallu unardu and all we say in Tamil, means they basically plant one stone and do avahanam of that Preta Sharira in that, and then you give food every day. Every day, in fact, basically you cook food and offer. But the funny thing is, in that cooking you don't use any salt. Okay, it is saltless food. It will taste awful. But still you make everything without any salt, because the reasoning is that Preta Sharira should not get attached to food also and stay here only. Basically you want to say Tata. In fact, it's literally like that. What we say in Sanskritam is on the 11th day or something, we say that okay, bye, go. Wherever you want to go, or wherever you are supposed to go according to your karma. But we think that they are going to some, at least the Pitruloka, Swargaloka, whatever. Correct?
Gacha.
So, we send them like that. We tell, go, please go, like that. We tell them, and even while going also to help them and all, that's why all that dana and all is given. Basically, it is supposed to help them in their travel. So that is all the rituals which we do that. So one way it is good in the sense that for us everything is not lost, understand that. That is a big psychological thing, is that our people can take death and all in a much better way. I have seen this personally also. In West and all, where there is only one chance and all that, they can't just digest that somebody has suddenly died and all that. One lady's brother died suddenly, and that guy was a young guy, correct? Then they don't know how to handle that. At least for us, we can still say that okay, even a young fellow is dead, means his prarabdha is over, that's all. And maybe he will have a better life, next life and all that. It gives a certain comfort, correct? There is no, it's not like something has suddenly extinguished and it's the end of everything. That's not there for us. They continue and we can even do something for them, correct? All our rituals which we do after this Antima Karma, whatever we do, it's all, something is there in that, and then every year also you can do something, correct? Some Tarpana you do every month, every year you are doing Shraddha. So we take care of the departed, correct? All our ancestors. And we have in fact a Rina towards them. That is what the Shastra says, correct? Without them we are not here, we cannot be here. So just because you are born here, you have a debt towards your ancestors, and that debt you have to fulfill. You cannot, if you don't fulfill, then that's a great papa, correct? Sin and all we don't even have to use. Papa is a better word. Sin again is a Christian word. It has its own meaning. Okay, it is a papa. Means it is going to give you unpleasant experiences. In fact, everything comes back to Papa Punya only. Without Papa Punya, none of the things which is said in the Veda will make any sense. And Papa Punya itself is again revealed only by the Veda, correct? That there is, in fact, Veda only tells that for every action there are two results, correct? Normally what we think is, for every action I do, immediately I experience something. That is the result, I think. That's the Drishta Phalam. That's what we call as Drishta Phalam in Sanskritam. So the Drishta Phalam is what you immediately experience. But our experience is that the Drishta Phalam is not according to my expectation, correct? Many times. I expect something. I wanted to go to Chennai, I told you, correct? From Theni. Then I took a bus or I took a train. Then next day I wake up, train is standing somewhere. In fact, this has happened to me really. In those days we used to go to Benares from Chennai. Okay, Ganga Kaveri, there was a train called Ganga Kaveri. Now it starts from Kaveri, whether it will reach Ganga or not, we don't know. So many times we will wake up Suddenly one day we woke up, it is there in some station which is not even there in the regular route. Because some other train derailed and they rerouted this train, it is standing in somewhere and it used to go late by 24 hours and all that. So only after it reaches Benares, it is okay, we have reached. Till then, we don't know where we are going. So like this, we can take effort, but the result, the Drishta Phalam itself, it can be according to your expectations sometimes, or many times it is not according to your expectations. Sometimes the train itself derails. You don't even know where you are. You get up in some hospital and ask where I am, who am I, all that. Fundamental questions and all you are asking. Like this, anything can happen. So that means our efforts alone are not enough. Whatever results we get is a function of more than, or something more is there. Then how do we account for that? So in English we say luck. Very easy word is luck. Luck does not convey anything really, correct? Luck can be chance, probability, all that. So, but our tradition is different. There is no luck, but we have adrishtam. Now, but adrishtam is popularly mistranslated as luck, correct? But it is not luck. Adrishtam literally means unseen. It is unseen result. Because every action you do not only produces drishta phalam, depending on whether what you did is right or wrong, right? Whether it is dharma or adharma, you get an unseen result also. Papa and punya, that is what is called papa punya. Now, but that papa punya accumulates to your account and then it will fructify later, we say. Now, that later only it is again whether your effort is producing the expected result or more result. Sometimes more also you get. You wanted to take a train, somebody gave you a ride in a nice car. Means you have some punya. Or papa also. If papa is there, something else is happening. Whatever you expected is not happening. Even though you put in the effort, something else is happening. So punya papa also is a factor, but it is unseen. But it goes along. So Veda says there is a punya and papa which also is important along with your effort. Both of them together give whatever results which you are achieving. Correct? Whatever experiences you face every day, means every day some punya papa is getting exhausted. In fact, this life itself has started with a bunch of punya papa. That is what is called prarabdha, correct? And all the accumulated punya papa is called sanchita. Amongst the accumulated punya papa, whatever punya papa started this body and this life is called prarabdha. That prarabdha itself is unfolding every day. Plus your effort also is there. Now then prayaschitta also we talk about, correct? Right. What is this prayaschitta? Even in the Dharma Sutra, whatever you should not do is talked about. Then the self-knowledge is talked about. Then specific prayashchittas are given. What prayashchittas you should do if you have done something wrong. Because if you have done something wrong, you have earned papa. See, if you do something wrong, drishta phalam is also there. You have guilt or you may get punishment. But that's not all. You have also earned papa. Means for that you have to do prayaschitta. So the prayaschitta karma is actually neutralizing the undesirable papa. Anishta karma kshaya it is doing. So for that specific rituals and whatever, so many things are given. Even Jyotisha is the same thing. Understand that. The astrologers cannot predict the future. Don't think, if you go to the astrologer, they are not predicting your future. Understand that. They are only predicting what can happen according to your prarabdha. Astrology is a model which can predict based on when you were born. It is only telling you your prarabdha. According to the prarabdha, what is the most probable thing which can happen now. But then they will also give you prayasita, correct? They are also giving you prayasita. They will say, okay, go to all this Navagraha Sthala, go to some, you have Rahu dosha, so go here and do something. Or you have Pitru dosha. Many astrologers again, because most people don't do any Pitru karma nowadays. So then what? They will say Pitru dosha. Pitrus are not happy. They have their own language, correct? So then go to Rameshwaram, do this karma, or go somewhere. There are specific sthala for all these things, correct? To do different prayaschitta, you have to go to different particular places and do certain things. So astrology is basically only a model which tells about your prarabdha and what can most probably happen if you don't do anything. If you just leave it to your prarabdha, what can happen? Then what our people will do the prayaschitta and then complain nothing happened. In fact, the whole idea of doing prayaschitta is that nothing should happen. Okay? Because something happening will be bad. That is the idea. So, this is the whole thing about karma, correct? And the Veda Purva Bhaga also, as I told you. So, the Veda is revealing many things, mainly sadhana sadhya. Some sadhya is known, some sadhyas are not even known. But we can even aspire for things like Swarga. Once the Veda reveals that there is a Swarga and then it is a nice place and you have Bhoga Ayatanam, it is said. The Deva Sharira is, the body of the Deva is only to enjoy. And they can enjoy without consuming. See, that is the best part. Correct? The Devas, they don't have to consume something to enjoy it. So, paroksha only. By paroksha only indirectly they can enjoy everything without consumption. Means then you can keep on enjoying. That is the idea. Because the problem with us is what? You want to enjoy something. Then you drink the tea, you enjoy the tea, but only so much you can drink. Or whatever you have drunk means that is over, already you have consumed. Then you have to say, okay, enough, I have only so much space, or whatever, you have so many constraints. If you consume something, you can only consume so much. But Devas have no problem. They do not have to consume anything and keep on enjoying. Oh man, that's nice. And no, all these childhood problems also you don't have. In Devaloka you are straight away adult. There is no growing up and growing old also. You never grow old. You are always the same Deva Sharira you have. All these things looks nice, desirable, okay. These things are good. In fact, even our Veda's description of Swarga is better than other theologies. Okay, I leave it to you. You can go and study how other theologies talk about their heaven and all that. So, but it's a nice thing. So you can desire. Then it says, okay, then you do this karma. If you want to go to Swarga, Jyotishtoma Jeta, or so many things are given. Okay, Jyotishtoma is one kind of homa you can do if you want to go to Swarga. Now all these things are there. Then this Adhyatma Jnanam also is there. So now how do we fit in everything? What is the connection? Why the Dharma Sutra should even talk about Adhyatma Jnana is the first question. In fact, Bhashyakara himself, in his Bhashya, he wants to give the connection. That's what he asks. That is the question. And then he gives a beautiful answer there. So he starts by saying that I don't want to read the entire Sanskritam and all for you, but I'll give you the gist of the Bhashya also. So Bhashyakara, he says that I'm writing a small Vivaranam for this Adhyatma Patala, because he has written only for that. So I'm writing a small Vivaranam. It starts with that Adhyatma Yogan, like that there is a sutra, first sutra is there in the Patala. So whatever starts with this Adhyatma Yogan, for that I am writing a small Vivarana, small commentary. And then he says that why is this here? Why is this Adhyatma Patala placed in this? After talking about all the things you should not do, or if you do that you will become patita. After talking about such things, this is said, and then further other prayaschitas are all talked about. That means this is in the Prayaschitta Prakarana, he says. The Adhyatma Patala in the Apastamba Dharma Sutra is there in the Prayaschitta Patala or Prayaschitta Prakarana. So the subject matter under discussion now is Prayaschitta, and Prayaschitta itself, why it is there? Because Anishta Karma Kshaya. The Prayaschitta Karma is the Hetu or the cause for resolving all the Anishta Karma or the Papa. Papa is the Anishta Karma, correct? Because Papa will fructify as something undesirable or unpleasant. And I don't want anything undesirable or unpleasant. So I want to resolve it. I want to take care of it, neutralize it. So how do I neutralize? By doing this Prayaschitta Karma. So Prayaschitta Karma is like, see, already our life has started. This Prarabdha Karma is like already, it is like a arrow which has left the bow. It is going, if you don't do anything, it will go according to whatever the momentum it has to go somewhere. But now you want, this Prayaschitta is like your missile defense and all that, correct? Already a missile is coming. You do what? You send another missile. It is like you send another arrow faster than the original arrow, and then you can actually intercept that and stop it there itself in flight, in between, or you redirect it somewhere else. It goes, instead of it falling on the land, it goes into the sea or something. Okay. Like even this Bhagavan does that only, correct? In the Mahabharata also, Karna is aiming for Arjuna's head, correct? In fact, there also Arjuna, this Karna's ego also is shown there. Why? Because Shalya is his charioteer, he is a great warrior himself. Being the charioteer of Karna, he advises him, don't aim for his head, aim for his neck or whatever this area. But Karna says, who are you to advise me? I myself am a great warrior, I know what to do, you just do your work. Something like that. Then he aims for the head of Arjuna. Then what does Bhagavan do? Bhagavan just presses his feet and pushes the whole thing down. Then Karna's arrow still takes away the crown. Now losing the crown also is very bad for a Kshatriya, understand that? It is equivalent to death only. It is something not good, means, but still that Papa did not kill him, correct? Still he faced some effect of the Papa, but it was also neutralized to an extent, so that he lost only the crown and not his head. Like that, the Prayaschitta Karma, they neutralize all the Anishta Karma, the Papa. Some you may be able to neutralize fully, or at least even if you neutralize partially also, it has some benefit. But then why this Adhyatma Vidya is placed at the head of all the Prayaschitta Karma? Because before talking about specific Prayaschitta, the Apastamba Rishi is talking about Adhyatma Vidya. So Bhashyakara says Adhyatma Vidya is the one which neutralizes all Anishta Karma. In fact, it neutralizes both Ishta and Anishta Karma. Because Atma Jnanam frees you from all karma, not just Papa, but Punya, Papa, everything is gone. Because Punya also is Anishta for a Mumukshu, he says. For a Viveki Purusha, Bhashyakara there, immediately he says, for a Viveki Purusha, for a Mumukshu, even Punya also is Anishta, not just Papa. For normal people, Papa is Anishta, because they are only worried about experiences in this body, mind, sense complex and all that. But Punya also will give you another body. You may be temporarily enjoying, but after the Punya Kshaya, you have to again fall back. Right? Bhagavan also says in the Gita, he says, Abrahma Bhonan Lokan Punaravartino Arjuna. Everything, wherever you go, you have to come back. Because once the whatever Punya or Papa Kshaya happens, then that body will be over. So, Swarga is called Amrita Loka and all that sometimes. That's because there is no death. Old age and death and all is not there. But I think in Swarga you will just vanish. once the Punya is over, you have to vanish from there. And then You have to be born somewhere else. So it is also, even punya is a hetu for another deha, correct? Another jananam, another maranam, like that. So for a mumukshu, punya also is anishta only. And what will give you freedom from both papa and punya? What will neutralize all karma? That this Atma Jnanam alone can neutralize all karma. And that is why Apastamba is talking about Atma Jnanam before he talks about all other prayaschitta, after telling what all you should not do, this Adhyatma Patala. Because if at all you do that, even in fact in the Gita 4th chapter, Bhagavan says that even if you have done lot of papa, correct? Sarvebhyah papakrit tamaha, he says. Papakrit tamaha is the word Bhagavan uses in the Gita. Papakrit means one who has done papa. Papakrit tamapratya means it is superlative. Superlative papa you have done. That means you are the greatest papi. Sarvebhyah, amongst everybody. Papakrit tamaha means what? You are the most papi. But even for such a person, what? Sarvam jnana plaveneva vrijinam santarishyasi, and all he says. So this jnana, if you have this jnanam, then you can cross over everything. It will burn. All the papa and punya, everything, all karma is burnt in this fire of this knowledge. So knowledge is the most or the greatest purifier, he says, correct? So, jnana is the greatest pavitra. All these things he says in the 4th chapter. So, Atma Jnanam alone can give this because basically Atma Jnanam tells that you are not even a karta. As long as you think you are a karta, you cannot escape from karma. That is why there is even one more argument. Why is the Veda even talking about all this karma? That means the karta should be real. Like this, the Purva Mimamsaka and all, they argue, since the Veda is, because you have to reconcile Veda in one place, it is giving you so many sadhanas to achieve so many sadhya. That means by implication it is saying you are a karta, he says. But the Veda doesn't say you are a karta. Veda is only saying if you desire this, you do this. Means already the one who thinks he is a karta, for that person, Veda is giving all that. But then the same Veda says, Parikshya lokan karma chitan nasti akritaha kritena brahmanaha nirvedamaya. Means what? Anybody can keep doing karma. But then suddenly one day it clicks for you. What clicks? Whatever I achieve, correct? It's not making me completely satisfied. All accomplishments are great only till the time you accomplish it, correct? After accomplishment, it is no more great. You are now thinking about something else. That means some accomplished people can see the limitations of their own accomplishments. If you are able to see that, then naturally there is a question, correct? Is there anything by accomplishing which I don't have to then do anything anymore? I don't have to accomplish anything anymore. I can rest completely satisfied with myself. Is there anything like that? Means you cannot see anything like that within this world. Okay? Whatever you, not only in this world. In fact, there is Ananda Mimamsa in the Taittiriya Upanishad, correct? It says Ashishto, Dradishto, Balishtaha Tasyayam Prithivi Sarva Vittasya Purna Syad. Okay? Sayeko Manusha Ananda. So one Manusha Ananda, it is defining a unit called Manusha Ananda. The Ananda of man. What it can be means you take a man who is well read, Asishtaha, educated. Balishtaha means no health problems, strong, healthy, okay, young person. So Ashishto, Dradishtaha means strong and firm and all that. His limbs are all working fine, healthy. and strong person. Then also what, he is not a poor person. Tasyayam sarva prithivi vittaha. All the wealth of this Prithvi is there at his command. Okay, such a person, resourceful person also. Everything is there. And such a person, whatever he can enjoy is one Manusha Ananda. Te Shatam Manusha Ananda. 100 times that. Then it gives a whole list like that. 100 times that, 100 times that, 100 times that. So there is a Manushya Gandharva who has 100 times the Ananda Manusha. Then 100 times Manushya Gandharva's Ananda is Deva Gandharva. Like that, then there's a many more list is there. Okay, different types of Devas. Then finally Indra. Then Brihaspati. Then Prajapati. Brahma. So all these Anandas are talked about. Means whatever you can accomplish here, it's all limited. And it's not going to give me, it's all anityam only. Anything you accomplish, it is in space-time, means it will come to an end. Some things may last for a long time, but it is still in time, understand that. It is going to come to an end. Means anything limited which I achieve, I don't want, or it's not interesting to me anymore because it's not going to make me happy permanently. Then is there anything then for me to accomplish? Means Veda says yes. For such a person only, it is now teaching this Atma Vidya, because you are taking yourself to be limited and you are also going after limited things in the hope that two limited things coming together will somehow make you free from your limitation, correct? But that's never going to happen. Any amount of limited things you add, it is still finite, correct? Any amount of finite things you add, it can never become infinite. Infinite cannot be created, in fact. In fact, infinite cannot be the result of any action. That's why we even categorize the results of karma. I already told you, right? It can be either Utpadhyam. 4 types of categorization are there. Utpadhyam means karma can create something, like you create a pot out of clay. That's called Utpadhyam. Then there is something called Apyam, means what, you reach somewhere. Like I want to go to Chennai from Theni. Means you can reach. Or Samskarya, you can purify something. That every day we have Panchapatra. After you do Sandhyavandanam for 5 days or something, it is all dirty, correct? Then you again put some tamarind and all that, it is bright. But again only for a couple of days, it is bright. Means again you have to purify. Again dirty, again pure, whatever. So that is Samskaryam. Then Vikaryam also. You can even modify something. You take milk and make curd out of it, let us say. So karma can only have 4 types of, or 4 categories of results, and all of them are limited and they can never produce limitlessness or infinity or whatever. Correct? The Ananta. And in fact, the infinity is called Akrita, means it can never be created. Means if it is there, it should already be there, here and now. That is the whole idea. Right? Then only it is infinite. Infinite should be there, it should transcend space-time. Because it should be there everywhere and it should be all the time. Means it is there here and now. If it is already there here and now, then why am I not knowing it, is the question. Then it becomes a problem of ignorance and knowledge, correct? It's not a question of doing anything. Doing anything and achieving something is already out of the window for us. One who has realized this is the Mukshu. And for such a person only, the Adhyatma Patala is also talked about, for those who want freedom from all karma phala itself. Okay? So we'll see further. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.